The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, this is Gail Loyola with the Ohio Association of Food Banks, the home of the Ohio Benefit Bank. I'm so glad that you've joined me today. Today's subject is Tax Season 2013 Roundup. Okay, so let's begin. Before we begin, as always, I just want to remind you that although we've had many years of experience with the Benefit Bank, we are not tax experts. So if there is something that at any time you have a question about that we are not real clear about, we will research it and get back with you as soon as possible. So the topics that we are going to cover today are, number one, we're going to talk about the updates of the Benefit Bank tax modules, including streamlined completion of the Ohio State tax form, which I know a lot of you are going to be really excited about. Updates to the tax law for 2013, review using the View Client's e-file status tool. We're also going to review how and why you should have navigators at your tax clinics, and then also updates on the Benefit Bank training, which include the 2013 refresher training. Also will be the new online training option for new counselors. So what is new in the OBB? Well, the one thing that I found out that was new that really got me excited, and I think I was about as excited as that little girl in the corner there, the fact that they have expanded the electronic filing. Now, what I mean by that is that the normal electronic filing of your current tax returns that we always have, that will be the same, okay? But what will, but the expansion on the electronic filing is that beginning this year, the previous year's tax return can be electronically submitted also. Remember in the past that if you prepared someone's previous year, you had to paper file. Well, beginning this year, we'll be able to electronically submit not only the 2013, but also the 2012. And then each year, it will add on a year. So next year, when we're preparing 2014, you'll be able to also electronically file the 2013 and the 2012. So see what I'm saying? It's going to add each year. So by the year 2016, I know that sounds like a long way off, but you know what? Time just goes by too fast, so it won't be a long way off. By 2016, you will be able to electronically submit your current year and all of the previous years. Okay, so but this year they're starting out with just 2012 and it'll build. So, you know, that's exciting. That's exciting. Also, what is new are the income limits. And I'm going to explain to you what the income limits are, and then I'm going to explain to you why the income limits changed the way that they did. The income limits for the Benefit Bank this year will be $65,000 for all clients that are considered single or are single. Okay, so that is if you are single, if you are head of household and you are single, you are a widow or widower, those are incomes are $65,000. Now, what is very exciting is that if you are filing married filing jointly, okay, married filing jointly only. If you are filing married filing separately, remember you are considered as everybody all together single. Okay, so that would make you 65. But if you are filing married filing jointly, your income limit is now $95,000. Now let me explain to you why the increase. The increase to $95,000 is not outside of the realm of the benefit bank. Remember, the benefit bank's whole mission is to connect low and moderate income households to resources. Okay? So a family of 4 at 400% of the poverty guideline, which is where the benefit bank works the most effectively, that is $95,000. Okay? So if you are married filing jointly, you both people are working, one is earning $30,000, the other is earning $50,000, you know, you can very easily go over the $65,000 limit. So now the married filing jointly limit is now $95,000. Now you may be wondering why we are focusing on that 400% of that family of 4. The reason why is because of the Affordable Health Care Act. Remember, you can receive, starting next year, a tax credit that will help you pay the premiums of your health care coverage. And that does go up to 400% of the poverty guidelines. Okay, so if you are married filing jointly and you have that family of 4, you're in there. Okay, if you are not aware or not comfortable with the federal poverty guideline, please Google, okay, the FPG, okay, Federal Poverty Guideline, and it will have a chart. You can even print that chart off. I have a copy of the chart in my office, basically because when I'm talking to people, I want to make sure that I have the correct incomes, okay? Most of us who have worked with benefits understand that. You know, if you work with HEAP or any of those other programs, food assistance, you know about the federal poverty guideline. But the thing of it is that a lot of times with your tax volunteers, they have not worked with benefits. They basically just want to come in, do a few taxes, tax returns, and go home. So they are not that aware of the federal poverty guidelines. So it may be something that you may want to copy off and put into their volunteer packets when they come to volunteer at your agency, and explain to them what it is and why it is important. So that is the reason why the benefit bank felt it was prudent to increase the incomes to $95,000 for a family that is filing jointly. Now, there will be a few changes because of the $95,000 or even the $65,000, okay? So let's talk about some of those changes as far as is concerned with the federal updates. And what I mean by changes is we know what it looks like when we work with somebody who has income of less than $60,000. Okay, a single person less than $60,000, it may still be eligible for a number of credits. Even if they're filing jointly, there are a number of tax credits like the child tax credit, the IRA deduction, student loan interest deduction, and the lifetime learning credit. Well, if your income is over 60,000, these credits are going to look different. So the reason why I'm pointing that out to you is that you may do what I did a couple years ago. A couple years ago, I had a young woman that I've been working with a few times, and she came in to have her taxes prepared, and she had received a, excuse me, I need to take a drink here. Sorry about that. She had um, received the IRA deduction, and her income had increased, and she was no longer eligible for this deduction. And when I printed off uh, her tax forms and gave them to her so that she could review them, before we electronically submitted it, she looked at her forms and she said, "This is different from last year. I did not receive," because she was looking at her tax credits. She said, "I did not receive the tax credit for making contributions to my IRA." And I thought I had done something wrong, So I went back and I reviewed um, the application and everything. I went through all the screens and made sure I entered everything like I should have. And lo and behold, what had happened was that her income had increased. Now, the reason why I found that out was that I always keep with me a copy of Pub 17. If you have never used Publication 17, I would suggest that you go to the irs.gov site and in the search bar, type in Publication 17. That Publication 17 are the rules, okay, the tax law in written form. So what I did was that I opened it up and went directly to the IRA contribution credit, and I read it over. She had received a raise which put her right over the limit where she could no longer qualify for that tax credit. I explained that to her. She was good with it. We celebrated the fact that she had gotten a raise and she was no longer considered low income. She's still moderate, but she wasn't considered low income. So we were really excited about that. So keep that in mind. If you're working with somebody and they've earned $65,000 and this year they are not going to get one of these credits, or it's reduced. Some of them are not that they won't receive it, it's just that it's greatly reduced. And you see that, please do not go, "Oh, I'm really sorry, you're not eligible, I'm sorry, the system won't let you." No, celebrate that, like, look, you are now out of what is considered low income. You are now moved into moderate income. Let's celebrate that. We don't always need to be able to qualify for a program. Let's celebrate the fact that our income has increased. I'm loving that part. Okay. So, like I said, you'll probably see some changes in here. Just be in a different frame of mind as you're working with people. This year, you will probably see clients that you have never seen before because of the income limits, which is really great because this brings new client base to your agency. You may even be able to build some programs around this new client base, or look for money or something or other partners that would be willing to help this new client base, okay? But in speaking about the new client base, I want to back up here a little bit and say, if your agency has a major funder or major grant that says that you can only work with someone who is 200 or below the poverty guidelines, please do not feel that you need to go to the 400% of the poverty guideline. We do not want to do anything that is going to put you in jeopardy of any of your traditional funding, okay? The thing of it is that if you can only help somebody up to $35,000 or $40,000 or $50,000, make sure you create a flyer that says that, okay? Our marketing all says about, the 65 and the 90. Do not use that. You'll need to create your own little flyer that says we can do free filing for anyone whose income is, I don't know, 45,000 or 50,000 or whatever your amount is. So I just want to throw that plug in there that you do want to be careful when it comes to which clients you can and cannot assist, okay? Alrighty, so let's continue on with the federal updates. So the next federal update we're going to talk about is the personal exemption. This year, the personal exemption did increase to $3,900 per person in your household. So remember, don't leave anybody off. Remember to add crazy Uncle Joe that lives up in the attic. Add everybody that lives in your household that you legally can. So because every time you leave someone off your tax form that you are legally allowed to claim, you leave $3,900. That's not the only money you leave, but that's the first money you leave. Okay, also the standard deduction amounts have increased. For single or married filing separately, okay, that is $6,100. For married filing jointly or the qualifying widower, it is $12,200. And then for the head of household, that is $8,950. Alrighty, the Earned Income Tax Credit. The EITC thresholds have increased. I'm not going to read all of these to you, but I will take one and do an example with. For an example, if you are sorry about that. I mislaid my paper here. Standard deduction. Okay, there we go. If you are your income is $43,038 with 2 qualifying children, okay? But your income can go up to as high as $48,378 if you are married filing jointly. Now, remember, the closer you get to $60,000, the less likely you are going to be eligible for EITC. Okay? If you have 3 children, you can go up to $51,000 if you're married filing jointly. If you're single, you can only go up to $46,227. So you may have a new clientele that's not even eligible for earned income tax credit. Okay. The earned income tax credit has increased to, and this is the maximum that you can receive, is if you have 3 qualifying children, the maximum you could receive is $6,044. And then if you have no qualifying children, but you're older than 25 and younger than 65, you can receive $487. Okay? And remember, to receive $487, with no qualifying children means that if you are single or had, if you are single, because you can't be head of household if you have no qualifying child, that your income cannot be more than $14,340, or if you are married filing jointly, $19,680. Now that's if you do not have children, and that is what your income is. Okay? Alrighty. So our next topic is going to be the standard mileage rate. It was increased this year to 56.5 cents. Okay, that's 56.5 cents. All right. The one reason why I brought this up is that every year I have somebody ask me about the mileage rate. So let me explain a few things to you about the mileage rate. And I'm going to use myself as an example. I travel a lot, as most of you know, and so therefore the agency reimburses me for my miles. Okay? The thing of it is that I am not reimbursed from driving from home to work. Okay? I am reimbursed for driving from work to, say, Cincinnati or to Cleveland. I am reimbursed for that kind of a travel to and from, but I cannot do it from my home. So if I travel, I have to go to the office first and then begin my travel. A lot of times people want to throw in their going from home to work. That is not legal. Okay? Now, also, another thing about mileage is that I have a woman that I met a few months ago, and she travels, but her agency, they don't have a large budget for travel. So she will turn in travel reimbursement for some of her travels, and some of her travels she does not. The travels that she does not turn in, she could actually use this standard mileage rate to track those miles to get a tax credit on. Okay? So you don't have to, if your employer doesn't cover everything, whatever the employer does not cover, you are eligible for the 56.5 cents per mile. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about deductible medical expenses. Okay, this is one of those things where the government giveth and then the government taketh away. The minimum amount this year for medical expenses on your Schedule A, and what we mean by Schedule A, that's when a person decides that they want to itemize. They don't want to take standard deduction, they want to itemize. The problem is that this year they have raised that to 10% of your adjusted gross income, your AGI. It was at 7.5 before, but this year they raised it to 10%. Now, if you are a taxpayer and you're over the age of 65, it still remains at 7.5. But they've raised it to 10%. Now, that doesn't mean that, I can't use any of my out-of-pocket expenses. I can use my out-of-pocket expenses, and what I can do is make sure that you remind your clients to bring in or to at least count up all of their out-of-pocket expenses, because you can use it on the state side of your tax return. Okay? But always, always, always encourage your clients to do that, to keep those receipts and maintain some kind of a ledger. Speaking of ledger, if you ever want to know what the IRS suggests about record keeping, please go to irs.gov. I love that site. And up in the right-hand corner in the search bar, type in record keeping. There's an entire section on record keeping. Okay, so you may want to share some of that with your client. You may want to print off some of the things that they say about record keeping and give that to your client. It's important that we keep records of our out-of-pocket expenses, okay, because when the client comes to us, they do not need to show me their record keeping or their shoebox or anything else. Whatever they tell me, I need to go with it, okay? They need to understand, and I always tell somebody this when I ask them about, school expenses or medical or whatever, whatever you tell me, make sure you can back it up by documentation, because the IRS may audit you. Now, it'll be a soft audit. They'll call you, well, they won't call you. They'll send you a letter, and they'll say, we saw that you had $3,000 in out-of-pocket expenses. We need for you to bring in your receipts so that we can take a look at them. All they want to do is be able to prove that that is what you had, okay? And speaking of them not calling you, the IRS does not call you on the phone, and the IRS does not email anybody or text anybody or any of those, tweet anybody, okay? That's not what the IRS does. They send you out a letter. It's called a 2000, and you will, and it'll explain everything you should do and who you should contact, okay? But do not accept any calls or respond to any emails from the IRS. And before I move on to the same-sex married couple, I want to go back real quick to what I just said about the IRS. They would send you a letter. Let your clients know that if they receive a letter, or if any of you ever receive a letter from the IRS, do not just file it away somewhere, okay? I would first, if you're not real clear about what that letter is saying, or if it looks like you might be in trouble, our clients are eligible to call the legal aid. Legal aid has a grant across the state. They have a grant from the federal government to help low to moderate income taxpayers with any problems that they may have with the IRS. Now, there is a webinar that I did. We had a guest from the IRS, not from the IRS, from legal aid, and she spoke on this subject very thoroughly. And so what you will want to do before tax season begins is to go to where all the webinars live and look at that webinar. And we will talk about where the webinars live later, okay? I will do a live demonstration so that you can see where you can find this, but I do want to throw that in there. There is a webinar on low-income taxpayer clinic, okay? And that is where a taxpayer would go if they were having problems with the IRS. And I would suggest that everybody review it so that you would know where and how to locate the legal aid in your area if you do not know where they are. Okay? Alrighty, so this is one of the other updates that the federal government has expanded to, and it is the same-sex married couples. The IRS, following the decision of the Supreme Court, the IRS has added the same-sex married couple, and they will be able to file their federal tax through the benefit bank this tax season. Now, they cannot do back taxes. I know that they are able to go back and file some of their back taxes, but using the benefit bank, you cannot do that because the benefit bank wasn't set up for same-sex in prior years when it was programmed. So that will, and anyway, that's a 1040X, okay? That's a amended. So amended is not on the benefit bank yet, but they would have to do a 1040X, okay? Speaking of the 1040X, I have to throw this in here. I have asked them a couple of times, and they have it on their list at Solutions at the benefit bank to actually add the 1040X. So I look for the 1040X to be added within the next year or so. I would love to be able to say that it's going to be added next season, but I don't know. But I have really been on the bandwagon of really pushing that 1040X, okay? So, so that's what is new with the federal right now. So let's talk about what's new with the state of Ohio. Okay, so let's first begin with the state of Ohio and the same-sex married couples. Because you cannot get married in the state of Ohio if you are a same-sex couple. The state of Ohio does not have that provision on our state form, okay? So you cannot file a state return for a same-sex couple. They will have to do that by paper, and they would have to do it individually, okay? But you can file the federal, but you just can't file the state. Alrighty. So now, yay, state of Ohio has an earned income tax credit, which is fabulous. Right now, it is equal to 5% of the federal credit. And I know that doesn't seem like a lot, but you know what? That's a beginning. That is a beginning. Last year we had no EITC in the state of Ohio. The maximum amount of credit you can receive is $302. So it follows the same guidelines as the federal EITC, but as I said, it's only right now it maxes out at 5%. But we look for greater and better things as time goes on with the state of Ohio and their EITC. Alrighty. Also in the state of Ohio this year, there is a 8.5% overall reduction of the Ohio state tax rate. Yay! Okay, let's get excited. Let's get our jollies where we can. Okay, because as we all know, they give it and everybody all together, take it away. Okay, so they reduced our income tax rate, but the $20 personal exemption credit that everybody used to get, you only receive it if your income is less than $30,000. Okay? So that's another thing. You're going to see a change on there. Your clients are going to see a change. Okay, so just be ready. Make sure your volunteers are very up to date on what the changes are. You may even want to make sure that you send this or even include this webinar in your volunteer orientation or whatever it is that you're going to be having for your volunteers. Just make sure that they are updated on this. Okay, so that's it for the state of Ohio, except for now we have the school district. Yes, there are updates to the school district tax. Nothing has changed on the forms, okay, or anything like that. It's just that there have been 2 additional school districts that are now including a school district tax, and there are some changes to tax rates for 4 other school districts. Now, I'm not, excuse me, I'm not exactly sure who the 2 school districts are because I couldn't find that information before this webinar. But just be aware that if you've never had school district tax and now it looks like you have one, you're one of the new people. You just want to make sure that you and your volunteers are aware that you need to keep track of this. If you have new, if they passed a state tax issue, I mean not a state tax, a local issue on your school district. All righty. So those are the updates to the taxes. That is the updates to tax law and to the income requirements and everything. So let's talk about e-file status tool. There are 2 ways for you to see the status of your client's e-file. Now, if by chance you lived under a rock last year and you did not see this, please know this is the next best thing to sliced bread, okay? This right here is absolutely fabulous. So one of the ways that, there are 2 ways for you to do this. So one of the ways for you to do this is that is for you to, when you are in the client's account, okay, they haven't left you yet, you're printing off copies and everything, and you click on client e-file status, okay. Now it'll say either one of 3 things. It'll say pending, sent, or rejected, okay, or accepted. So I guess there's 4 things. Or rejected or accepted, okay. So let's go over that again in case I confused you, because I think I confused myself. It will say pending, sent, and they put that sent in there because if you remember last year, on the very busy days, like this year, Free My Refund Day is February 1st. The IRS was very busy, so there were times when you had no clue if it was sent or not because it took a while. So there is pending, sent, rejected, and accepted. If you click on this e-file status, you've just finished someone's return. And you click on this and it doesn't say anything. It says no file submitted. That means that you missed an action towards the end. So just click on the file 2013, okay? And it will take you right back to where you stopped, and make sure that you completed all of the save and continues, okay? Click save and continue all the way to the end. There are times when people don't go all the way to the end, and then what happens is that I get a phone call usually in June. I don't know why it takes them till June, but usually in June I receive a phone call and the client is saying, you know what, I did not receive a tax refund. And I go into their account and find out that what has happened is that it wasn't properly electronically submitted, okay? So make sure you do that, number 1, for sure. But also in that checking the client's e-file status, you should be able to find out without much delay, unless I said like it's one of those busy days, that whether or not it's been accepted or rejected, which is really great, because if the client is still sitting there and it was rejected, and it says it was rejected because Social Security numbers weren't correct, or any of the things that it says, birth dates weren't correct, then with the client sitting there, you guys can repair it right there and then. Oh, I transposed the number. Oh, that's my sister's Social Security number, not my son's. That kind of a thing. So you can fix those things right there and then just resubmit it all over again. All righty. So let's go to the next e-file status tool. And this one here is also a really cool one. This one is located on the client's homepage, okay? And the counselors are encouraged to take a few minutes at the end of the client's tax filing session to check the status of the client's return using the e-file status tool, okay? So like I said before, I always try to check this before, but you can check it the next day, but I would always want to check this the night before. I mean, the day that they are sitting there right there with you, because it just makes things a whole lot easier. It really does. Okay, another update that happened last year that I think is absolutely fabulous. It is when your client has lost their password. They know what their login name is, but they can't remember what their password was. Okay? So, on your homepage right here, what you can do is click on Reset Client's Password, which is right here. Click on that, and this box right here will show up. You type in the client's login name, and then it will allow the client to update their password and let the client type in their own password. Remember, passwords are always 8 characters or less. 8 characters or more, at the very least 8 characters. And it's a combination of number and letters. Okay? Alrighty. Okay. Just want to make sure I don't leave anything out. Alrighty. So the next portion of our, the last portion really, of our webinar is that we are going to talk about tax module updates. Okay. This is second to the last. This is tax module updates. Now, I want you to know that what I'm about to review with you does not exhaust, is not an exhaustive list of the changes, okay, but of the module changes, because if I went through every one of these changes, it would just drive us all nuts. You'll be able to see them all when you do your refresher, okay? And the new counselors can see them when they do their online training. But what I do think that this is showing you is that the TBB has an ongoing commitment of improving the online service, okay, so that our volunteers and our counselors and you yourself can actually provide a better service to your customers, okay? So what we have first here is the simplified limitation page. I don't know about the rest of you, but last year that limitations pages they threw in there, I just wanted to go and just strangle someone. It was like 4 pages, I think, of information that it wasn't even necessary for every client. It was giving you all the information of the limitations. Well, this year they have simplified it, which is great. And the reason why it is simplified is that it is broken down, okay, into by it is broken down by the common limitations that you can use. Okay, so let's say, for example, the you have a person who is retired. Okay, and you need to know what the limitations are if a person is retired. You can click on the limitation, the common retirement limitations, and it will give you just that. It's not like I have to read down all the limitations for people who are retired and for common and for a business and for the 1099 miscellaneous, which there are a number of them. I don't have to do that. I can just click on the limitation of the client that's sitting in front of me. I have a client that's sitting in front of me. They have a 1099 miscellaneous. Let's go through the limitations of the 1099 miscellaneous. I have a client sitting in front of me who is 70 years old, and I want to make sure that I go over the common retirement limitations. So when you see this, you're going to love this. That's all it's to it. You're going to be in love with it. You're going to want to write TBB a letter. And please, I encourage you to do that. Send TBB a note and let them know that you are from Ohio and that you are in love. Now, don't call the help desk and tell them you're in love. The help desk, they love to know that you love them. Ryan and his help desk people, but I'm going to tell you, they are so busy during tax season. Just send them an email. Send them an email. Tell them that you think what they are doing is absolutely fabulous. Because I'm going to tell you, when you get to this limitation page, you are going to be excited. Alrighty. There's also help determining different tax credits and deductions. This area is absolutely fabulous also. It's not like you have them all bunched up. You have them actually clunked together. If you want education, education is right there all together. As you can see, it doesn't talk about them individually. You have them all right here, and you can click on either one of them. And that way your client can decide which one of these credits they would rather use. Because a lot of times with the education credit, the person can actually choose which credit they want to use. Okay, so yeah, that's great. Also, with the state of Ohio, the state of Ohio has put more questions on the page. So the state of Ohio section is even shorter, which is great. The state of Ohio is all about questions, all about a Q&A, because, all the income information is already entered in. So it just wants to know, do you want to donate money to the state of Ohio? Do you want to donate money to, I don't know, a myriad of things? Did you donate an organ? All of that. And so they've clunked them all together and made them more questions into a shorter, which makes this a shorter Q&A with the shorter clicks, I should say, with the Ohio state tax. Okay, so now we are at the last part, which is the third part, which is the live demo. And if any of you are have been to my webinars before or have seen any of my webinars, you will know that I love demos. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about with our demo is how to request, and then I'm also going to explain to you why you should request an affordable health care navigator, okay, to your tax clinics. So let's go here. The reason why you should is, number one, because we have helped our clients with their taxes over the last few years, we would be remiss seriously if we did not bring information to our tax clinics. And also, if you have financial literacy, you need to bring this information to your clients so that they are not penalized when it comes time for the tax credit. Okay? That is the last thing you want, is for your client to either be eligible for tax credit that they did not utilize. Okay? And because they didn't know about it and they didn't utilize it, they did not apply for health care, and now they have a penalty, which all of that could have been averted if they had known about the tax credit. Now, with that being said, I am not in the school of thought that we need to train our tax volunteers to know everything about the affordable health care. That isn't necessary. What our tax counselors need to understand is to, number one, have a flyer or some kind of information to give to the client at the end of the tax session. So it would look like this. Okay? I don't know. Mary Jo came in and she had her taxes prepared by me. And we've gone through everything. We've made sure that we have found out using the e-file status that her return was accepted by the IRS. I'm putting everything in our folder. We're talking. She's excited about a refund. And then I look at her really seriously and I say, okay, I understand that you're very excited, but there's one thing else I need for you to consider before you leave here today. I need for you to stop by to talk to the healthcare navigator to see if you may be eligible for the Affordable Care Act healthcare premium. Okay? That is a tax credit. Let them know this is a tax credit. And then give them the information. Let them know where the navigators are. The navigators should be in a room separate from the taxes, okay? And either escort them over there or have somebody escort them over there. We're not trying to herd cattle, okay? The thing of it is that what we need to do is that we need to make sure that they understand the income and tax implications that could happen, okay, if if they are not made aware of this early, okay. The last thing we want is for this client that you're sitting with. I'm sitting with Mary Jo today, and she comes back to me next year and she says, why didn't you tell me that this was going to be a tax issue? Because on TV they're not talking about that. They're kind of talking about the provision, but not really. This is a tax issue, okay? So if the person has a penalty, if the person has not, they owe money on their premiums, any of those kinds of things, and they're thinking they're going to get their $3,000 refund, they're not. The IRS is going to deduct from that refund what they owe for their health care. So we really need to, and the best person to explain that is the navigator or the CAC. Now, many of you know that the Ohio Association of Food Banks, we really received a nice sized grant to push this out statewide, and we are in every county. Okay, what I mean by that, not every county has a CAC or a navigator, but you are close to one that has one, and we can send one to you. Okay, so the way that you would do that is that you would go to this page here, ohioforhealth.org. okay? And with ohioforhealth.org, you can request a navigator. And the way that you would request a navigator is that you would want to click here where it says host an event. Now there's a lot of information on this. So I suggest that you come here, look it up, see what's going on. So host an event. You want to click here and then fill in these boxes. It's a couple of pages worth. Fill in the boxes. Make sure it's the contact information of the person that you want them to contact. Okay? And within a few days, you should receive either an email or a phone call from a nice little guy. His name is Tyler. He works in our office. He is the person who is organizing all events. So once you and him have gotten together, you've talked about it, there are some things that you're going to want to decide. Do you want him to schedule the navigators? I would suggest that you ask him to schedule the navigators, okay? And so, an event. So once you've talked to him, he will put your event on this calendar right here. I'm going to go to attend the event so that you can see what it looks like. So right here, you have on February the 1st, we have 3 events running that are the Free My Refund Days events, and there are 3 of them. There's one in Franklin County, one in, I think it's Fayette, and one in Findlay. Okay, so I'm going to show you what each one of them look like. Click on this one. And this one here, this is the Free My Refund Ohio Healthcare and Tax Clinic. This is in Pickerington, okay? It's at the Eagle Rock Church. It tells you what time it is, gives you a map if you need a map, and then it explains that if you want to speak to a navigator only, okay, you're not getting your taxes prepared, but you need to get health care, you can schedule a navigator appointment, or you can schedule an appointment with a tax counselor, okay? Now, if a person is sitting with you and they're having their taxes prepared, because you know how single-minded we can get with our taxes. We go in to get our taxes prepared. I don't want to talk to anybody else, okay? Just make sure that they are aware that the navigators are there, and I would even send them, but don't send them until after they've had their taxes filed, okay? Alrighty. So that's one event. The second event is here in Franklin County. This is actually my event. We are going to, we have a tax clinic on that day. To set an appointment with the navigator or with tax counselor, you call this number, okay? Alrighty, and then the third event is with the tax clinic there in Findlay, Ohio. It's going to be at the Millstream School. That's their, oh, I forget what it's called. Okay, my brain just went dead. It's not their community college, but it's a combination high school career center. It's a combination high school and career center. It's great. I've worked there a couple of times. I've done some trainings. It's a nice facility. So at their facility there, they are going to have both navigators and their tax counselors there. I just saw something that kind of took my brain away. It says filing their 2014 income taxes. I need to make a note. Somebody needs to change that. It's 2013. Yes, it is the year 2014, but we're filing for 2013, okay? Alrighty. So it tells you down here that You can call the 1-800 number to schedule an appointment with a navigator, or you can call the 211 to schedule an appointment with a tax counselor. All right. So it's not too late for you to host an event where you're going to have navigators. This is a very good model. We have used it since the navigators began in October, okay? And because we have used this since then, we realized that it's better for the navigators to talk about healthcare and tax counselors talk about taxes, and that's it. Tax counselors, you need to gear them towards the navigators, but I don't even try to engage them in a conversation about healthcare. And I even work here, and there's navigators around me all the time, and they're always talking. But I'm focused on taxes right now, not on healthcare. So that I hope this helps you out a lot. Like I said, there's a lot of other information. There's you can also find an event in your area. Let's say you do taxes and you want to have a tax clinic in an area where you do not have a facility to have one. So let's say that I would like to host a tax clinic. Let's say I want to go down here, southern part of central Ohio, okay? And so I'm going to open this up and see what they're doing. And so I can see that they're having an enrollment in Frankfort, and that's the area that I would like to do a tax clinic, but I do not have a facility in Frankfort or an office or anywhere to be able to do it, but I want to expand my services. What you may want to do is to contact this site or and ask them. Call the contact the site to see if you can collaborate with them and bring in a couple of counselors and do taxes for the people that are coming to speak with navigators. They understand the importance. And if they don't, let them call me. Have them call me. Say, call Gail and find out how important this is. As you can see, here in Frankfort, they have 2 events scheduled. One in March, which is at the middle of March, and then they have one in the middle of February. Okay, so that's just an idea. If you're thinking about expanding your territory a little bit, or like in Northwest Ohio, NOCAC has all of those sites all over Northwest Ohio. I mean, they go clear from Toledo all the way down to Van Wert, I think. I think Van Wert may be the most southern part. And there is a clinic here. It's on 21st, so that's not going to help. So let's go to the next one. They have one in Napoleon. They have another one in Napoleon on the 28th. And okay, here's one in Napoleon on the February 4th. Okay, Nick could, if he didn't have one in there, during this time, and he would like to do that, because NOCAC is in Defiance, he could actually try to partner with these folks so that, and here's the contact number, partner with these folks to actually bring in tax counselors. Okay, so that right there just might be an idea for you. So the last thing we are going to talk about here today, I know you're like, yay, I don't blame you. I'd be yay too, because this has been long, but it's been a lot of information, is about the tax training. Okay, so we have 2 trainings online this year. We the updated training for or I should say, the refresher training for the existing counselors. And we also have tax training that's online for new counselors. And over the weekend, I was told, I think that we had like 12 people complete the tax training over the weekend online. So that's encouraging, and it is exciting. Okay, and if you have any questions or anything, just call our office. Call that 1-800 number that you saw everywhere. Let me go back here because I do not know the 1-800 number. Offhand. There it is. 1-800-648-1176. That is 1-800-648-1176. Or you can just call the regular office number. Okay? And when you do that, ask for Daniel. Daniel is the person that developed this. Either speak to Daniel or speak to Bree. They are this team, rather, that developed this online training, and they can answer all your questions. Okay, so don't worry about if you're used to speaking to Martin or if you're used to speaking to me. All I'm going to do is send you over to Daniel because I do not know the ins and outs of that training. I know the ins and outs of the in-person training. I do not know the ins and outs of the online training. So it's best Daniel. Nice guy. Alrighty. So let's say that I am a returning counselor, okay? And I just want to do the refresher. I come to this page, which is ohiobenefits.org. I scroll down to the bottom, click on Counselor Resources. Alrighty. On the Counselor Resource page, this right here is OBB Trainings. I click on OBB Trainings. This right here is the Ohio Benefit Bank Counselor Training. This is the training for new counselors, okay? So if you want to get started, you have a new counselor, they want to get on. I know there's a link out there, but this is also a way for you to get here. Click on this. And this is the instructions. So the person's going to want to maintain the instructions. Then you click here when you're ready with the instructions. And then you begin. Now, this has my name and everything in it because, well, number one, this is my laptop. And number two, I have logged in here before. Okay? If you're new to this, if you have never been in here, okay? And to let you know, you can use your Benefit Bank login name and password. This is my login name and password. But if this is a new counselor and they have never been to a training, they do not have a login name, brand spanking new, then they need to come in here to create a new account so that they can, or they can click here, read the instructions so that they can create an account so they can get into this learning session. I'm not going to go very far into the learning session. I'm just going to go to another screen so you can see how this looks when it begins, okay? Now this is PTO, this is Tax Trainer. So you want to click on Tax Training. As you can see, this is Counselor Training, Tax Counselor Training 2013. This is what you want. You don't want to do the 2012. That was last year's. So they want to click on the 2013. And then follow the directions that they gave you and, that are on that sheet that you have. And do don't be impatient with it. Depending on how fast your computer is and so forth, this is Adobe Captivate, and sometimes it takes a minute, like it does on mine, because my laptop now is almost 10 years old. That way, you know, if my laptop was newer, it would probably come up quicker. And then there you go. And you're going to see some of your old friends from the benefit bank in here. Okay? So, I want to. So we're going to close this because it's getting ready to do some things that I don't really want to do. All righty. I also want to point out to you in this area here, the counselor support page. Remember earlier I spoke about my webinars? Right here under tax counselors, this is the new and improved, yay, OBB Tax Counselor module, okay? It's everything you would ever need or want to know about taxes will be here. It's not all here right now, but over the next week, that is my main job, is to get this up and stocked, okay? There's a little bit of everything in here. There is general information about general tax information. These are those limitations we were talking about earlier. This is Tax Clinic Toolkit. Okay. This here is upcoming webinars, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. This is financial wellness. This page will be built over time, like within the next couple of months. We have the My Budget Coach program, Your Money, Your Goals, which is a financial empowerment toolkit that Cordray, remember Cordray from Ohio? He is now in D.C. at the Treasurer's Office. Him and his staff, they developed this. It's really good. Financial tools for the military and financial tools for reentry. Okay, so that's what will be in here. And then archives are all my webinars that we have recorded. Now that one webinar I was talking about, it's right here. We did it last tax season. It's Low Income Taxpayer Clinic. It's a LITC. Now remember, this is not a clinic where you come to get your taxes prepared. This is a clinic where you go if you are having issues. Okay, so this is what it does. A Low Income Taxpayer Clinic, the LITC, a program of the Legal Aid Society, okay, that's all over the state of Ohio, provides representation to low-income taxpayers who are having federal, state, or local tax problems. Ta-da! And if you click on it, it will open up. And you'll be able to, now these are all on YouTube, so you're going to want to make sure that you are able to watch YouTube from whichever computer you have it on, okay? So, real quick, upcoming webinars. Upcoming webinars, there's nothing in here right now, and that is basically because of I'm changing the format, okay? I am still going to continue on. I don't think they'll be called webinars anymore, but our Crackpot staff, they are fabulous. That is Bria and Daniel. They are our media folks. We are going to still continue with this format, but it's going to be kicked up. Okay. I'm still going to talk about tax issues and talk about tax forms inside the benefit bank, all of those kinds of things, bring you up to date on what's going on. The thing of it is that they will be better. Okay? So because they will be better, I truly appreciate your patience with us over the next couple of months as we get this rocking and rolling. Um, but the webinars will not look the same as they look today, okay? But they'll be better. All righty. Okay. So the where you go if you are a tax counselor and you want to do the refresher training. Where you would do your refresher training is right here. You log yourself in, okay? See, this is your e-file status. I know I went off topic, but this is your e-file client status. So every morning when I come in, I always click this to see, make sure that everything that I had done the day before, that it's correct. Now, if by chance, let's say I worked with Mary Jo, and we weren't able to find out her e-file status before she left because it was a really busy day, and the IRS, it wasn't happening quickly enough, and Mary Jo had to leave because she had children, and she needed to get back home. So the next day, when I come in, I would come here to check. Now, let's say by chance it said that Mary Jo's return was rejected. Okay. Now, you know I can't keep copies of her tax forms, correct? Okay. I cannot. But what I do have is I might have had a registration page for her to fill out. She might have had to sign in and leave contact information. I can at least contact her and let her know, Mary Jo, it was rejected because the Social Security number of your second child was incorrect. Can you please come in so that we can correct this? There you go. Okay, so home. There we go. So I've logged in and I want to do training, do the updated training. I click on the training tab. I come down here and click on 2013 training. Give it a minute. And then you press start. Now this training is in two parts. The first part is reading, basically. I don't know what else to call it. You're doing a lot of reading here. But the second part will be an actual scenario. Okay? So, just know that this comes in parts. It's not done all at one time. It's going to look different from what you have done in the past. Okay? We have a new training team, and they do things just a little bit differently, which is okay. It's just different. So like I said, you would just hit these arrows, read the information, and move forward. Okay? And it's going to talk about in the beginning what's new for 2013. It's going to review some of the things that we talked about today, you know, about the tax filing season. I did not talk about this, but you do know that the tax filing season starts on January 31st. I've gotten some questions. No, the TBB will not be available. The tax module will not be available until December 31st, and we do not have a date on when the FAST will be available. I'm hoping that it will be available by January 31st. That's my hope. So, you know, you just go walk through this, and then when you get to the end, it will tell you that it's time to start part 2. Okay? And I think that's it for the updates. So now I want to go back to this page so that there we go. End with this page. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me, or you can text me on my cell phone, which my cell phone is the 273 number, 5819. I do encourage you to not call my desk, basically because it's always a while before I get back to my office. So encourage you to either text me a question, email me a question, or you can also just call me. So I will, that's the end of today's webinar. I know it went a little bit long, but that's because we had so much to talk about. And, you know, whenever we get together, we like to talk. So you have a good day and a blessed day. And if you have any questions, don't forget your navigators. Don't forget to include them at your clinics, which will be absolutely fabulous. If you have any questions about that you want to ask before you approach, not Daniel, but Tyler, about scheduling a navigator, please email me. I am always here for you. So you guys have a blessed afternoon, and I will speak with you the next time on the new and improved Ohio Benefit Bank Enhanced Tax Counselor webinars. Bye-bye.